ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Andy Morris here along with Jim Gum and Jacob Mason. Glad to be with everybody here on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon, June 17th. Jim, you brought something to my attention before we went on air. It's June 17th.
Famous date in sports history, man. The chase.
The juice was loose.
The juice was loose. 1994, man. It's hard to believe how long it's been now, but I know you were just a young kid, and Jacob, you were still in diapers. But this stuff, man, that was a crazy time. I just will never forget watching that. You just could not turn it off.
Yeah, for our younger listeners that might not know what we're referring to, O.J. Simpson, the chase out there in L.A. County PD all over the place. And he was going about 20 miles an hour down. What is it?
I think the Interstate 5.
Yeah, is it I-5?
I-5.
Yeah.
I think it's I-5.
Yeah, I think that's right. But
that was just nuts. What was going on then? So I mean, I'll just never forget that.
Yeah, and really, it's an iconic moment because you're talking about a guy who's a Heisman Trophy winner, who was one of the greatest NFL running backs of all time, and obviously, very sad situation with his wife. Were they divorced? I can't remember now.
They were separated. I don't know if the divorce was final. All right, do you remember who was driving the white Bronco?
It was one of his teammates,
Al Cowlings.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I knew it was one of his teammates.
Good friend and everything of OJ. Since I guess they had been friends for years and years. But and then it's just the way that divided our country when the trial was going on. It was very racially divided our country, just like today. Nothing's changed, but that was just a nutty time. But I'll never forget because the NBA Finals was going on while that chase was going on, and NBC they had a dilemma. They're like, what do we show? Do we show the NBA Finals? Do we show this? They did split screen.
Wow.
Now, all the other networks like ABC, CBS, every other channel, it was pure OJ, 100% OJ. And NBC was doing the finals. They had to make the decisions that they did a split screen. But, you could not – you couldn't even watch the basketball game. You were focused on the chase.
Anyone that's ever watched a high speed or even in this scenario a low speed chase, it's hard to take your eyes off of it when you're watching it because you're just waiting to see what happens next.
Bro, there was one in my neighborhood last night. I got home to a chase. Somebody was like running. My neighborhood's like close to the interstate, and somebody went through the back of my neighborhood and then hit the interstate. And so I turned on the police scanner, and I was dialed. So I can only imagine, being. I was only one then, but being able to watch that live, like what that must have been like. I would have been the same. I would have been watching NBC. I would have had the split screen with the game, so I could just check the score. But then I would have been all over the OJ stuff.
You look at these chases. Of course, they didn't do this with OJ because they were going so darn slow. But you watch some of these chases on television. They do the pit maneuver where they hit them on the quarter panel,
little fish tail
around.
GSP, Georgia State Patrol. Have you seen those videos?
They're awesome, man.
Hey, you don't catch me speeding in Georgia. You didn't ever.
No,
you will never.
That's like their first option. Most states, that's their last option, man.
Yeah, Georgia State Patrol, no joke. So I wonder if if OJ would have ran in Atlanta. It would have been the shortest chase of all time.
No, they would have blocked him in.
They would have just spun that Bronco around like that.
Oh,
it would have been over.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely a very memorable occasion. Not so much a sports incident, but a high figure in the sports world in O.J. Simpson, obviously, when that happened. But I can't believe we didn't talk about this yesterday. The 125th U.S. Open.
Oh, my God.
We just didn't have enough time, so we're getting to it today. But J.J. Spaun, champion, 1 under par, which is, first of all, if you watched any of the U.S. Open, what a difficult course with the weather included, making it even more difficult, just absolutely crazy circumstances. But he wins it on a 64-foot putt to clinch, and it was just an unbelievable – do you remember who it was right before him that basically had the same lie?
Was
it Scott?
No,
Wasn't Adam Scott.
Hovland maybe.
Maybe it was Hovland.
Yeah, I think you're right. So basically, right before he takes that 64-foot putt, gets to watch him and see kind of where the lie, how the green's going to play, and talk about just an exciting moment. It doesn't matter if you're a J.J. Spaun fan or not. I was pulling for that guy.
Yeah, and honestly, I love hot take. I think Oakmont should be televised yearly, I love the fact that it makes them look like
normal
What makes it
humans.
look like me?
humans.
I can identify with it.
Like, I was talking on the phone with a buddy yesterday, and I was like, think about this. Like, think about how hard the Masters is. And people win the Masters with like 16 under.
Yeah, exactly.
In a 4-day span. There was a world where the winner was going to, like, could have been over par.
Yeah.
You know, the guy who won it was 1 under, and he drained a 64-footer to make it happen, or he would have been even. I think it should be televised. I loved the fact that I think Roy kind of showed his butt a little bit this weekend, but I love that it brought that much frustration because I can relate to that. I was on the golf course last weekend and thinking, oh my Lord.
Okay, Jacob, I'm going to ask you this. It's par 70. What would you shoot?
200, dude.
I'm like 150, 160. I'm serious.
Yeah, I'm triple digits. It's like the one, because think about it. The roughs were 6 inches deep. Like, I'm not getting out of there.
You couldn't listen on TV. The ball would disappear in the rough. When you watch the Masters, when you watch Pebble Beach, all these other courses, when the ball's in the rough, you can still see it on TV.
Yeah.
It disappeared into that.
Well, and then on top of that, so like you watched a hole where I'm pretty sure I saw that JJ like birdied all weekend. Wherever he landed in the fairway, they're gonna put a bunker there next year. Like they designed that course, and like the church pews, they extended another 30 yards.
Yeah.
Like they're going to continue to make it hard, and I absolutely love it. The tool that for golf that was for the green speeds was invented at Oakmont.
Is that right?
Yes, because they're so fast. It's like rolling on concrete.
How many times would you have putted it off the green? Oh, I guarantee you, 10,
Brother,
15 times.
I don't know
easily.
that I'm like making it on the green.
But listen, with that too, you talk about the weather. It was so saturated that it was messing everybody
Birds.
up. As far as it didn't matter if you hit one in the fairway or not. It was messing with everybody's shots, and when you'd get it on the greens were soaked. They said there were like sponges with the amount of water underneath the green that you couldn't dictate what your speed needed to be on an already difficult green. So just hearing some of the comments made it an exciting tournament because there's nothing else like it.
Yeah, and Burns got screwed in my opinion.
Yeah, you
like,
talk about where
with
the
relief.
wetness.
Yes,
Yeah.
like it poured, and
They
then he
should've
was
let
taking.
him.
He was
Should've
taking
got a drop.
He was taking practice swings,
Just water
and
flying
water's flying up, and the dude was that like he was in the race.
Yeah,
and
he
so
was-
like shout out to JJ, like you did, like you won the U.S. Open. That's awesome. But like Burns, like that was the downfall of the rest of his round. And
I agree.
It just sucks for him.
Yeah, I thought that was a poor decision by the committee there. They should have let him drop it in an area where the water was not as bad.
Yeah.
that was just a bad call on their part.
But for me, it being Father's Day, of course, and JJ Spawn having his 2 daughters there, I thought that was so neat, getting to see him celebrate with those little ladies and his wife. It was really a great ending. It doesn't get any more like
Well,
a 64-foot putt. Like if that doesn't get your attention, I can't think of a better finish.
And think about this: the best golfers on earth, Live, PGA, all of it. The best golfers on earth were at Oakmont this weekend, and JJ Spawn was the only one to shoot under par.
Did you hear his comments after the
That's
fact?
so cool.
Yeah.
He didn't know what his peak or what his ceiling was going to be a few months ago, and he said he was just trying to figure out where his place was in the golf world. And then he had some good finishes. Where was it? He was runner-up not long ago, and he said, hey, maybe I can actually compete at this level. And he just kind of gained that confidence. I hope if we got any young listeners out there, listen, mentally, stay locked in. Keep chipping away because great things can happen.
Did you watch him like on those last couple holes? Did you see his like, dude, he was lost.
He was.
He was dialed.
You know, boy, but earlier that day or on Sunday, he had some really rough holes, and I thought he was playing himself out of.
Yeah, he
contention.
almost took himself
and
out.
And then he just made that little run there on the back 9, and heck, and I'll tell you something else. I thought Scotty Scheffler he was probably a total of 5 inches away from winning this tournament. A quarter inch here, a half inch there, missing putts like crazy. He just could not get a break. But he was on his game. Well, I say he was on. He was just barely off his game. Or if he'd have sunk a few of those, he'd have been right
Well, I
there.
mean, think about it. He was in play.
Scotty finished 4 over, by the way.
He was in play at 4 over. You know, like the fact, like when they were going into 10 and it started raining, I said if he could just get like a birdie and finish 3 under, like there's a good chance that the rest of this field plays out and they're all 300 when we go into a playoff. Yeah. But even JJ at the beginning of that round, like went bogey. He hit the flag stick on 2, or I can't remember what hole it was, and it rolled 65 yards back into the fairway.
I thought that was going to be his downfall.
Yeah.
I really did. I said, man, this guy just got the shaft, literally and figuratively. But he hits a perfect shot, hits the stick, and he hit it so solid that it bounced, ricocheted, like you said, 60 feet back.
Yeah, and so it just, in my opinion, it was such a Father's Day, like a Father's Day's gift. Like I was just sitting there, like at the TV, saying "One of us."
No doubt.
Like it was awesome. It was just a great event. I think Oakmont needs to be televised every year.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm going to completely change pace here from something fun and wholesome in the golf world, very formal, to being a little informal here. I know Jacob and I are fairly active in the world of X, and formerly known as Twitter. Mm-hmm. Listen, you've got to love sports fans, specifically right here in this part of the country where we are, the SEC fan mentality. So obviously we're all aware of what's going on over in the Middle East between Israel and Iran right now with the exchange of bombings. And I know some people have some opinions on that. We're not getting into all that. But what we are going to get into is that the Iranian military decided to make some posts just kind of letting their feelings be known. And the post was, "This will not be a mere demonstration of will or technological capability. This time our response will be lethal." So that was from the Iranian military. The responses were hilarious because SEC fans got involved. The very first one I read was weak schedule would get eaten alive in the SEC. And I lost it. The next one I saw was Kirby Smart hasn't lost a home game in years. Iran just got their doors blown off on their own turf. SEC fans are absolutely passionate and hilarious, and I love it. And I'm not an SEC guy, but I love whenever these serious things kind of take a twist and sports fans get a hold of them.
The Iranian military tweeted this out. I still say tweet.
I do too.
In English?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
They want the world to be able to read what they're putting out. So
Well,
interesting.
they've got several platforms.
Okay.
X, Twitter. I still call it Twitter. You catch me all the time. Like you call it X. For some reason I just can't stop calling it Twitter. Twitter might be the funniest place on earth. Like it shocks me. It's free. It like some of the stuff that I sit at home and I laugh, and my wife's like, "What are you laughing at?" And I'm like, some sports meme that somebody has come up with. It like they're hilarious.
And there are some real comedians out there.
Yes.
I mean, and talented, man. And some of these, I guess they use AI a lot of times. You'll see an AI post. I mean, you all know who Clay Travis is, right?
Oh yeah.
I love the ones Clay Travis. They'll show him playing a harp or something, with a shirt off. It's just someone's messing with him constantly. I love it. I think it's hilarious.
Hey, breaking news. This is also from X along the same lines.
Lord.
College Game Day will not be going to Iran this season, so that one's out there as well. But I gotta give the SEC fans credit. Absolutely hilarious stuff on the Iranian military's post on X, and keep it coming, boys. Keep them on their toes.
Well,
I think it's great.
Also, a tidbit: like if you love sports news, it breaks on X first.
It does.
It's always on it. Like I sit on this show.
Sometimes it can be premature as well, though.
Yeah,
that's true.
I sit on this show, and like I have a few people that I follow that normally, when they're breaking it, it's a done deal. And so I'll sit on this, like while we're, sitting here talking, just to see if something has broke. Like yesterday, as soon as we left the studio, Jake Garcia committed to Michigan. And it broke on X and was, he was at Miami, then went to Missouri, then went to ECU, and now he's at Michigan. We talked about.
Well, listen, Jacob and I have a story here where we were calling a football game one time, and a verified account changed their photo, changed their name, and I believe it was Jeff Passant of ESPN.com.
I think so.
And so you're thinking, I got the update, and I don't know who it was that put it out, that changed their verified profile. But Jacob and I were calling a high school football game, And this was during, I believe this was like a year or two before Nick Saban actually retired, but it said Nick Saban retires. And everyone was sharing it. And everyone thought it was legit because of who it was coming from, but it was someone that was already verified that changed their picture and name to match up with the actual Jeff Passan of ESPN. And we're on air like, we think that Nick Saban might have just retired. We're not sure. And again, this was a couple of years prior to his actual retirement. And good friend,
I was like, praise God.
Yeah, good friend of our show, Mark Smith and Smith Family McDonald's was up in the press box with us, and he said, "Fellas, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's true." He called it right as soon as we said it on air.
Had he been hacked or something, or just someone created a parody like account?
So like somebody that was verified with the blue check, they just changed their name. So you can change your name on there, and so he took his picture,
right,
made it his profile picture, and then changed his name to like literally be like a letter. Like I think he might have even put like a little dot somewhere. And so everybody shared it and thought it was him, but it really wasn't. And so it got me.
I've seen people that use like an uppercase I in place of a lowercase L. And you can't tell the two apart. Like
exactly.
You'll see stuff like that. And so you can come up with it looks like the name, but it's really not.
Or the number 0 instead of a capital O. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so you can do stuff like that and get away with it. That's hilarious, man.
Hey, something else that I personally am really excited about, and I'm a big fan of the world of competitive eating. We've talked about it a little bit on this show. Joey Chestnut is back in the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest on July 4th. So very excited to have Joey Chestnut back. There was some controversy. He decided he was going to endorse and be paid by a vegan hot dog company that was willing to dish out the money. And Nathan said, time out, you do that, you're not going to be in our competition. Well, they've reconciled since, and he's going to be back this July 4th.
What do you think the TV ratings had an influence in letting him back in this year?
No doubt.
I didn't watch it.
No,
I watch it every year. I didn't watch it. It felt illegitimate. Like it just.
What I did watch, though, on Netflix, Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi got together and did their own thing.
Okay.
And it was basically Kobayashi getting another shot at Joey Chestnut, and they made it like a USC type primetime event, and it was on Netflix. You can still go back and watch it. It was absolute cinema. It was great, and I loved every minute, and they had some celebrities on and everything.
That is awesome. Hey, by the way, we're going to take a break here in a minute, but when we come back, Brandon Gall, he writes for Athlon Sports. He also hosts ESPN Radio up there in Nashville. We're going to talk to him about all things SEC, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, the NFL, and everything else. You're listening to ESPN listening to The Drive on ESPN in Cleveland.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's the Trade-In Man.
This is John Davis at Kia Cleveland announcing our summer blockbuster blowout. You don't need to be a hero to pay zero. Zero down. Zero payments this summer. Plus, I need your trade, and I need it today, and I'm willing to overpay. Don't let the credit villains keep you from driving your dream car. At Kia Cleveland, getting approved is a possible mission. Our lenders will say yes to you and yes to your situation. Remember, I'll beat any deal from anywhere in Georgia, Tennessee, or Alabama. Come see me, John Davis, your hero in the car business, at Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee, where getting the best deal is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Looking for the dealer who's gonna give you more. Kia of Cleveland Superstore.
Example 25K4LX. 0 down, $349 per month for 72 months at 4.9% APR. Negative trade equity may be refinanced, subject to lender approval. Offers don't combine. Expires month end.
KiaofCleveland.com.
Hardees is hiring. Join the Star Team. Flexible scheduling, daily pay, free meals, 20% family discount, plus paid vacation for part-time and full-time employees. Apply in store or online at Hardees.com today. Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks. Dalton Pike at the state line.
Hip or knee pain holding you back? There's a new reason to feel hopeful. Dr. Andrew Carlone is now part of the team at Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics in Cleveland. He brings advanced training in total hip and knee replacement, including minimally invasive techniques that get you back on your feet faster. Let Cleveland's orthopedic experts help you live your best life. Call 423-624-2696 or go to sportmed.com to book your visit now.
Cleveland Tire Center's 49th anniversary blowout. Huge savings on Bridgestone and Firestone tires. Cleveland Tire Center's 49th anniversary blowout. Now through July 3rd. North Lee Highway, Cleveland, where the names said it all for 49 years.
Hey Cleveland, are you suffering from fatigue, low sex drive, or just not feeling like yourself? Optimize You is the answer that you have been looking for. Our team is here to listen and help you become the best version of yourself again. So find us online at OptimizeYouCenters.com. That's OptimizeYouCenters.com.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks, Dalton Pike at the state line.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
You're listening to The Drive here on ESPN in Cleveland. Hope everyone out there is having a good Tuesday. Hey, Duracell in Cleveland is now hiring mechanical skilled technicians at $22 to $27 an hour. Excellent benefits beginning day one: medical, dental, vision insurance, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com. We're happy to have Braden Goff. He writes for Athlon Sports. He's also a host there in Nashville on ESPN. And Braden, appreciate you coming on the air with us, man.
Yeah, always a pleasure. How are you?
We're doing good, man. Doing good. Hey, first off, I love the magazine. You've been doing this for a while there, writing for Athlon, but another outstanding publication. First off, are you involved in the preseason rankings in the Athlon football magazine?
I am since 2007, and it's funny. Like you mentioned, write for the magazine, and I can't remember the last time I actually wrote anything in the magazine, because what we do is we take. We like to go to the market, and so we want a reporter who's on the beat covering a team, especially when we had a bigger book, 3 or 4 pages per SEC team. Now we've got sort of 1 or 2. But we used to go to every market. We'd have somebody who lives in Baton Rouge writing the LSU story, and that's going to be a better story than those of us at the home office here in Nashville. But the rankings are ours. The rankings and the All-American teams and returning starters, like everything else in the book is sort of like our group. And 2007 was my first year, so we've been putting the magazine together for a long time.
Yep, Braden, I know that going off what you just said, I'm a big Notre Dame guy, been a fan for a long time, and Brian Driscoll wrote for you guys this year, so definitely I've always been a reader of the Athlon Sports, specifically the college football preview magazine, so I appreciate everything that you do there. As well as I know all the fans here in this area. That's always kind of been one of those things that everyone looks forward to the release of that magazine to look at the rankings and get the rundown on not only their team but some teams in the area that they might not be as familiar with. So if you could just kind of talk about the process that goes into getting that prepared.
Well, first and foremost, I want to point something out about Notre Dame in our rankings, because I think many people have said over the years, we've been accused of this for about, God, I don't know how long now. You just rank Notre Dame in the top 10 because you want to sell magazines. And we actually have lots of data and lots of evidence that indicates rankings have zero impact on sales for like 50 years now. We have that. We rank Notre Dame in the top 10 because they finish in the top 10 almost every year for like the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And that's where that's where they are. And so to your point about the rankings, like, and the question is, like, how do we land on this? We do go through and power rank the conferences at first. Then we're going to go through and we're going to sort of project where we think teams finish, which involves more, like the first set of rankings as a power list is sort of looking at your returning starters, your quality of the coaching staff, any changes that might have been made. We're kind of doing a general power poll. Then we go through and we take the schedules, and we add the schedules to it, and we're kind of looking at games like, okay, Team A has harder schedule, Team B has an easier one. They're going to play each other. This team gets the game at home. We like that team to win. Let's move them up a spot. So then the schedule adjusts where we think those teams are going to finish as you actually project almost every game that's going to be played, which is more and more difficult every year. Then we go talk to coaches. We have our favorite part. My favorite part of the magazine is the anonymous coaches scouting reports. Where
love that. Yeah,
get
I love
a ton of information. we get a ton of information from coaches about other teams. Some of it's extremely positive, some of it's extremely negative. A lot of it's very just interesting in general, and that affects the rankings again. Then we have transfer portal windows and kind of spring practice, and that affects the rankings. The point is we get to our final list, and it is a projection of where we think people are going to finish to the best of our abilities. So number one beating number two doesn't in our list doesn't necessarily mean number one over number two in our playoff rankings. That being said, we did go to press like a week before they changed the seating structure, so that was super fun for us.
Oh gosh!
Just in general, but it would not change. It would not change our prediction of who the two best teams are, because we picked those two teams to go all the way to the championship game, sort of regardless of the path.
And of course, those top two teams are Texas and Penn State. Now, let me ask you.
I fully believe in Texas. I am on board. I was pushing that. I'm on that bandwagon. I think they are the best combination of everything: experience, coaching, talent, quarterback, etc. And I think they also
favorable
have
schedule.
Well, no question. And they also have this edge. You can change the way college football works, but when you put a group of people together and put them, trying to accomplish a mission, a goal, and you get close, and then you get close again, generally speaking, those teams build and accomplish something. Texas semifinal 2 years in a row. I would be shocked almost if they don't make it to the championship. Not totally surprised. It's going to be a complicated tournament and a season, but if you're talking on paper today, who is the best equipped to go to that point? I think it's clearly Texas. Penn State was a much harder decision. I mean, you can make the case for a lot of teams in that top 7, 8, 9, 10 or so that can be there. Some of this is on paper. Penn State should be the team. The only concern is probably, James Franklin's ability to win the big game, and he has some end game management problems at times. But on paper, there's really no reason why Penn State shouldn't be there at the end. They have invested the way Ohio State did last year in retention and acquisition. They did it the same way Michigan did it the year before that. And if there's a lesson over the last 2 years, it's retain your best players. And Penn State did that, and then went and got Ohio State's defensive coordinator. So on paper, Penn State belongs in the top two, if not number one. There are questions about the past. There's questions about James Franklin. There's other things, but Texas was clear. I think Penn State, I feel comfortable about them at 2. I could be convinced to put a number of other teams at 2.
Retention at quarterback is important, and one team I want to ask you about is a team that did not do that, and that's Tennessee. Nico Iamaleava, he transfers to UCLA. I'm assuming that had a big impact on where they are ranked number 21 in the preseason in your magazine. Talk a little bit about them.
I think having Tennessee at 21 without Nico, and honestly without like 7 or 8 or 9 like fully formed adults who were on that defense and offense, like especially the lines of scrimmage, like one of the things that made that team very good last year was how experienced they were, a very wise selection of older players. And so for them to be at 21 without all of that, I think is a huge compliment and testament to Josh Heupel and the job he's done. They have a very high floor with that offense. They're going to need some young pieces to step up on offense. I think they can get that. Joey Aguilar, is he just sort of your average SEC quarterback? Probably. So I do think they would have probably been 15, 16 with Nico. That's a playoff contender. That's a team challenging for 10 wins to get back to where they were. And of course, if you ask Tennessee fans, they'll ignore all of that. Of course, as an alumni, I find myself in that category occasionally. But I think it's a compliment to the program that they've built, that we have in what is maybe the toughest SEC I've ever seen, to be that high with that schedule and with that talent returning, which is a lot of questions. I think it's a huge compliment. So I think Tennessee's going to have a good year. The question is it great? I don't think so. Are they in the playoff chase? Maybe. I'd probably lean closer to 7 or 8 wins, but again, that's a regular, normal rebuilding kind of year when you lose that much veteran leadership off the team.
Yeah, absolutely. You talked about how tough the SEC is this year. I know you're going to have Texas with them being at 1. Who do you think the second team in the SEC? Who do you think Texas will be playing in the SEC championship?
I mean, it's super boring to say Georgia, but that's the best bet right now. Sure. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised at probably 5 or 6 or 7 teams. Honestly, Like, I mean, I think LSU's really good. A lot of pressure on Brian Kelly this year. They got the quarterback coming back. They're better on defense than they've probably been in 4 or 5 years. I think Texas A&M is going to be sneaky good. Watch out for them. I think Ole Miss and Tennessee are the two that are kind of taking a step back relative to where they were last year. But Alabama could be better. You look around, I think Florida and South Carolina come into this season with a lot of expectation. They are both in our top 12. So if you told me Georgia, LSU, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Tennessee, like, you just keep going. It's just a ton of teams that have a chance. And I think Oklahoma takes a big step forward this year with John Mateer at quarterback, and that's going to be a fascinating team to watch. I think Auburn is going to be really good this year. So there's just so many teams that could jump up and get to that 9 or 10 win mark, maybe get to a 6-2 in the conference, and maybe you win a tiebreaker with these uneven schedules, and you get into the championship game. Now, how much does the championship game matter? That's another debate for another time. Coaches have plenty to say about that, but getting to the playoff, you probably need to be 10-2, and you could have 4, 5, 6 teams challenging for that this year very easily.
Once again, we're joined by Braden Gall of Athlon Sports, and Andy here again. And jumping from the Volunteers over to Nashville to the Commodores a little bit. For those of our listeners that might not be familiar, I'm a big fan of the podcast Bussin' with the Boys with former Tennessee Titans Taylor Lewan and Will Compton. And earlier today it was released with an episode with Diego Pavia, quarterback for the Vanderbilt Commodores, and he was quoted saying that Vandy will run Tennessee after this year, and kind of threw some shots in regard of things changing up there in Nashville for the Commodores. If you could just kind of talk about what Vandy's role could be this year in the SEC. You named a lot of teams, and Vanderbilt had some upsets last year. Could they be a dark horse to kind of cause some chaos in the SEC?
I mean, it's not even a dark horse to cause chaos. I mean, they could absolutely cause chaos. I mean, last year they kept Alabama from making the playoff, almost kept Texas from making the playoff, beat Hugh Freeze. Diego Pavia, I think, has beaten Hugh Freeze 3 times, which is hilarious, at 2 different schools. Pavia is like the product, the sport is better when Diego Pavia is a part of it. So Diego Pavia, full stop, one of the most entertaining players, if not the most entertaining player Vanderbilt has ever had, both on the field and off. He is a fantastic athlete and a fantastic quote, and so I am pro Diego Pavia. Vanderbilt, are they going to, like, if run Tennessee means they're the best program in Tennessee, that's going to be hard to do. but I respect the confidence. And if they get back to a bowl game, which I think they can and probably should do, you have to look at this 2-year stretch as one of the best 2-year stretches in the history of the program. So I think last year was the most impactful and most important season maybe in the history of the school. Following that up with yet another one of those is almost impossible. So I think they're going to be good. I think they're a bowl team. That's absolutely the right expectation. Can they get to 7 wins, maybe 8, possibly? Are they going to cause problems and headaches for opposing coaching staffs? Absolutely. But here, I will say this. I've stood next to Diego Pavia. 192 carries for a guy who is listed at like 5'9" and is not 5'9" is a concern. Just because the human body versus SEC defenses generally you're not going to win that one. So they're going to have to be more careful with how they deploy him. I think he was 3rd in the conference last year in rushing attempts. The other 2 are like 230-pound running backs. So you can't run your 5'8" quarterback into SEC front lines 200 times in a year and expect him to survive. So it'll be fun. I don't know how successful or how chaotic, but I bet you there's going to be a pretty big story or 2 coming out of Vanderbilt this year for sure.
Talking with Braden Gall from Athlon Sports and ESPN Radio there in Nashville. Now I'm going to change gears just a little bit. I know that you guys followed the Titans while you're there. Cam Ward, he was obviously incredible at Miami last year. How is he progressing with the Titans, and will he be the opening day quarterback for the Titans when they begin the first game of the year?
0% chance anyone else starts for the Tennessee Titans. I mean, it is not a story. It is not a conversation. It's not a real thing. I realize that the national media has sort of grabbed onto the fact that the reps are kind of being split, but like you're in practice, you kind of have to split the reps. Cam Ward is the Tennessee Titans starting quarterback. Like it's not up for debate. The question is, to your point, the progress, how good can he be? he's doing all the right things right now. He's earned himself. He's endeared himself to his teammates. They're raving about his pocket presence and his huddle, sort of the ability to command the huddle, his locker room camaraderie. Like, everybody's raving about that. The release is excellent. The processing is way better than what they've previously had at the position. He's overly confident, probably to a point that'll be annoying sometimes when he throws 3 or 4 interceptions, but he still takes too many chances thrown across his body into coverage and stuff. So he's just going to have to learn, like anybody, to be a starting quarterback at the highest level of football. But he has all the things right now in place to be a very good player. Is he going to be Joe Burrow? Is he going to be Patrick Mahomes on that level? I think that's an insane thing to say. But I also think he's worthy of the number 1 pick and worth the risk by the organization to try to find something that they have not, frankly, had maybe ever other than Steve McNair. So he's been really fun to watch in practice. He's a fun personality to study and get to know. He is incredibly driven, attention to detail, super smart kid. Like, it's fun to watch him. But does all of this sort of personality and locker room presence and all the work ethic, like, does that translate to being able to complete passes on 3rd and 12 on the fourth quarter against NFL defenses? I don't know. We have to wait and see.
So with the rise of Cam Ward, what do you think the future of Will Levis looks like? Do you think he's used as a trading piece? Is he content sitting and being the backup? I'm sure he's not content sitting and being backup, but as of right now, what do you think his projected future is with the Titans?
I mean, he's too talented to not get a chance with some other team. Honestly, I think the best case scenario probably for the Titans would be have him do everything he's supposed to this summer, come into camp, play well in a preseason game, another quarterback gets hurt on another team, and you trade him when somebody else is desperate for maximum return. That's probably your best case scenario for the Titans. If you're Levis, I don't know what the best option is. I think he'll get a chance to start somewhere else whenever he leaves the Titans, whether that's at the end of his contract or traded or whatever. Also, he's clearly the most talented player behind Cam Ward with Brandon Allen and Tim Boyle. The problem is I still don't know if he helps you win any games yet. And so the dynamics are interesting. He said everything right. Cam said everything right. I imagine his actual future in the NFL is on another team. Again, there is no debate about the starting quarterback position for the Tennessee Titans. It is Cam Ward's job.
We were talking earlier about Diego Pavia saying that, Nashville is a destination city and people are wanting to be in Nashville. Right now the city has the Titans, they got the Predators, they got Nashville SC, which is an MLS franchise. Within 10 years, do you believe Nashville will have a Major League Baseball franchise?
Oh, man. There's probably 3 or 4 other professional franchises that come before that one even gets started in the conversation. I think WNBA will be next. I think they're going to get a WNBA team pretty fast. After that, there's a lot of other options. Baseball is, right now, it's a PR campaign because you need 2 or 3 major things to have a baseball team. It generally involves an amount of money that starts with a B. You need a capital B billionaire to own the team. They have to pay for the stadium themselves, which is a couple $2 billion. You would need political capital from the city to want to give you land, which is not going to happen. So they're going to have to pay for it all. You're going to have to pay another $1 billion or so to MLB to get the expansion fee and or the relocation rights. Like, all you need for a team in Nashville is billions of dollars in land, and they have neither of those things. So I don't see how baseball is coming here until, and honestly, the only guy that I thought could do it was probably Bill Haslam, and he is all in on a WNBA team coming because he can put them right in his own building where the Predators live. So I don't know who else. I don't know, Larry Ellison with Oracle's headquarters moving here. Maybe he's got the money to do it, but you're going to have to finance the whole thing yourself, and there is nobody with that kind of cash right now that's willing to do that. So,
hey, last thing I've got for you. I was in Nashville a couple of weeks ago, and the new Nissan Stadium is coming along pretty swiftly and looks like it's going to be an amazing facility. What can you tell our listeners about the progress of that project and how everything's going to work out once the stadium's complete? As far as I know, it sounds like Tennessee State is going to take the former Nissan Stadium and make it their home, and then obviously the Titans in the new Nissan Stadium.
Yeah, it's my daughters love looking at the progress every time we drive by. We live pretty close to the stadium, and it's a monster. It's huge. It's going to be much bigger than old Nissan Stadium if you've been to that stadium, which is kind of a tiny, dinky erector set from like the 80s compared to what the new one's going to look like. And it's going to be a gorgeous building. There was certainly plenty of controversy around the politics of the fight to get it funded, et cetera. It's going to get a Super Bowl. It's going to get the College Football National Championship game. It's going to get a Final Four. It's going to get all this big stuff because people want to bring those events to Nashville, which is great for the city financially. Right now it's on schedule and on budget, which is huge in the construction world, as everybody knows. That's a very complicated thing to do. The only thing that could really screw it up is international supply chain tariffs and stuff like that. That's what could cause a lot of problems. But otherwise, right now, I think February 27 is when they're planning on it being done. They might be a little behind on that, but football playing beginning in the fall of 27 is still the goal. So right now, it's beautiful. I had a chance to tour it the other day, or a couple months ago. It's a very impressive facility and will be very impressive and worth the trip to come see for sure when it's done.
Well, Braden, we sure appreciate you coming on the air here in Cleveland, Tennessee. And if you're ever down here, you look us up, all right?
Absolutely. Always a pleasure, boys.
Take care.
Braden Goff from Athlon Sports and ESPN Radio in Nashville. So appreciate him coming on and sharing a little bit of the stuff going on in the capital city.
Yeah, some great insight. Not only, you threw out an MLB question at him, and he was all over it. So some great insight on the SEC, college football in general, and the possibility of a franchise for Major League Baseball in Nashville, which Jacob and I both, for our listeners, you can't see us. Maybe one day you'll be able to see us when we're streaming. We'll work on that. But we were both fist bumping as Braves fans.
Yeah, this is Braves country.
This is Braves country, and we're excited to hear that there will not potentially be a team in Nashville.
Well, Charlotte's up for bids, too.
It is.
You never know. Now, let me ask you all something. I know we got to hit a break here in a minute. But, we're talking about what the potential of all these big events going on in Nashville. The SEC championship game has, twice. The first 2 years was in Birmingham at Legion Field. Then they moved to Atlanta. Any chance you think the SEC championship game can move to Nashville for a game here, a game there?
I don't think they should. And this is me speaking as a non-SEC guy. Now, I follow a lot of SEC teams. I love watching SEC football. But I feel like Atlanta is the home of the SEC championship, and you've got a phenomenal facility at Mercedes-Benz Stadium down there to host that in. Jacob, you've actually been.
Yeah, I love Mercedes-Benz. So, like, one of the things that I love about it is it's affordable for the ticket's not, but once you get in there, it's affordable for a family to actually go. Like me and my brother went, and we both got a basket of chicken fingers, fries, a drink, and like he got an ice cream, and it was like $20. Like you can't, and that was back in, I guess that was 2022 when we went to the Georgia-Oregon game. But I went to the SEC championship in 2017. It's a great facility. It's a great place to watch a game. There's not a bad seat in the house. I'm sure Nashville is going to be beautiful, and I'm kind of with you. I think the home of the SEC championship is in Atlanta.
I guess Nashville's got the basketball, and Atlanta's got the football, and heck with the Texas and Oklahoma, and you just have to travel east every time.
But, Jim, I think you actually said this a couple weeks ago. I do think that the Music City Bowl, which is hosted at current Nissan Stadium, needs to become a bigger bowl, a more premier event, and host that at the new Nissan Stadium.
I believe that Nashville has an opportunity to get a Super Bowl, to get a national championship, the college football championship game, and obviously a Final Four. Now, the thing is, it's only going to hold 60,000, but I looked this up, y'all. The NFL... 18 of the NFL stadiums currently being used right now seat less than 70,000 people.
Yeah.
They're building these stadiums smaller and smaller capacity-wise, but they're nicer and nicer. So every seat's a really good seat.
Yeah,
yes.
they're building it for the fan experience. Like you even kind of looked at what like Florida State was doing. You looked at what Tennessee Vols are doing. They've cut out some seating in some places to add fan experience.
Right.
Personally, give me a bench and 100,000 of my closest friends.
Same here.
That's it.
And I'm going to be fine.
Well, you saw that with the Atlanta Braves when they built Truist Park. and they cut their seats from Turner Field to Truist Park by 15, 20,000 seats in order to make it a better experience as far as being on top of the field. And they wanted to sell out more baseball games, and since they've done it, they absolutely have done that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the Chiefs have the biggest NFL stadium at like 88,000 if I remember correctly.
I think, Kansas City's done the same thing. They've lowered the capacity by widening the seats. I think the stadium up there in New Jersey where the Giants and Jets play, but I know AT&T Stadium in Dallas can hold 100,000, but they have to add seats to it. But I think using temporary seats, Dallas. I think regular seats. I think the one up there in New Jersey holds the most.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I'm the opposite. Like, I go to a football game to watch a football game. Like, give me a hot dog, give me a burger, give me a drink. Like,
you're old school.
I'm fine. Mm-hmm. Like, I've lobbied for Georgia. There's a 600 section up there on the visitor side that doesn't wrap all the way around to the press box, and I think they just need to go ahead and wrap it in. Like, let's get us 100,000 dogs in the stadium. Mm-hmm. You know, they sit at 93,000. I'm more so. Give me more fans. Less experience, but you do go to these bowl games and you get to see some really I can't wait to go out to the Death Star in Las Vegas. Like, when I get to go to Allegiant Stadium, like, that's going to be exciting. I've got a friend who works for a company that laid the carpet in Allegiant Stadium, and we're supposed to be getting a tour the next time we go out there. So, like, I'm excited to see these beautiful places, but when it comes to the football game experience, just give me the game and a hot dog.
Yeah, I'm on board with you on that. Hey, real quick before we go to commercial, got a ticket giveaway for everybody, so pay attention here. Magnolia Dental is sponsoring this ticket giveaway for our Summer of Fun. Splash Country tickets. We've got 2 of them. All you've got to do is text the Volunteer Rid of Pest text line 423-749-1013. That's 423-749-1013. And just text your name and Splash Country. That's all you got to do to win 2 tickets to Splash Country, sponsored by Magnolia Dental, for part of our Summer of Fun event. With that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're talking Atlanta Braves baseball.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Hip or knee pain holding you back? There's a new reason to feel hopeful. Dr. Andrew Carlone is now part of the team at Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics in Cleveland. He brings advanced training in total hip and knee replacement, including minimally invasive techniques that get you back on your feet faster. Let Cleveland's orthopedic experts help you live your best life. Call 423-624-2696 or go to sportmed.com to book your visit now.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks, Dalton Pike at the state line.
So who is the best local law firm? Well, winning the Best of the Best award answers that question. You have some small firms that might get a nomination or 2, mostly by friends and family. Then there are those that have been around a while that have gotten several nominations on name recognition alone. But only Warren & Griffin has won the Best of the Best law firm 10 years in a row. 10 years.
I'm C-Mark. I'm John Wall. Chattanooga's best law firm, 10 straight years.
Call us 265-HURT. We are your local law firm.
ESPN Cleveland 101.3 is powered by Duracell. For a quarter of a century, Mix 104.1 has been taking you out to the ball game.
Swanson to first. The Braves are world champions.
Since 2000, Mix 104.1 has been the home of the Atlanta Braves, and we're celebrating by giving away tickets to Atlanta Braves games all summer long. Listen for your chance to call or text to qualify. You can also register at the Mix socials on Facebook and Instagram. Braves 25 is presented by Cleveland Ford. Honest people, honest deals. When you need a new roof, it's all about trust. Your home is too big an investment and you can't afford to make a mistake. Cleveland Plywood has the products and expertise you're looking for. Contractors have trusted them for over 50 years, and they carry only proven products from reputable suppliers like IKO. IKO Cambridge is one of the heaviest weight asphalt shingles you can buy, and their limited warranties are among the industry's best. Protect the investment you've made in your home. Go with the pros at Cleveland Plywood, 2700 20th Street Northeast in Cleveland. Call 472-3357.
Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Visit milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks, Dalton Pike at the state line.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Welcome back to The Drive. Hey, when it comes to Mayfield Dairy Ice Cream, you'll never have a boring bite. Their limited edition ice creams, cherry chocolate chip, and banana pudding are inspired by traditional Southern recipes and seasonal favorites. Pick some up today at your local grocery store and visit them online at mayfielddairy.com. As always, Mayfield Dairy, our number one supporter of Atlanta Braves baseball here on The Drive.
You think that banana pudding ice cream's got potassium in it? My doctor said I need some more potassium.
That's a good excuse to eat some ice cream. I know that.
I'm telling you.
You're trying to justify, right?
I'm trying to.
Listen, the Mayfield Dairy Butter Pecan actually got me through the game Sunday night, where we had a phenomenal pitching performance out of our guy Grant Holmes, and the Braves couldn't do anything with it. So I resorted to the Mayfield ice cream Sunday night. Wasted a great start from Grant Holmes, who once again had 15 strikeouts in that game. But tonight, Braves-Mets, this is a huge series, guys. First pitch, 7:15 down in the A. Spencer Schwellenbach, who's 5-4 with a 3.11 ERA, is taking on David Peterson, who's 5-2 with a 2.49 ERA. That game will be on Mix 104.1 and right here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. So talking about Spencer Schwellenbach, in his last 7 starts, he's 4-1. Pitched a complete game not long ago. This is a guy who's locked in, and I love where our rotation is lined up for this series specifically. We avoided starting Chris Sale on Sunday because this very reason. Yeah. Knowing the Mets are coming into town, Sale's going to pitch game 2, and Spencer Strider, who is the best version of himself up to this point this season as he's been since his injury. Schwellenbach, Sale, Strider, that's a great spot and a good part of the rotation to have lined up for this Mets series.
Well, I think this is an important series. Listen, I can't wait to watch it because I love watching guys like Juan Soto and Ronald Acuna, because those two guys are clearly the best two guys on both these teams. So you'll be watching these two, and how do they do? How does Juan Soto do against the Braves? How does Acuna do against the Mets? It'll be fun to watch. You always got the game within the game, but you're right, the pitching is just set up. If Atlanta doesn't win 2 out of 3, I'll be surprised because I think they've got a huge advantage whenever you got Sale on the mound. I just think I don't know if any team in the National League who can match up against him and think they've got the better guy on the mound. I just believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, and I don't even want to know how much the Chop House tickets are with those two playing in right.
Oh, gosh.
When you've got 2 stars like that playing in right, and you've got the premier seats like those Chop House,
they're going to jack those prices up.
I mean, they're going to be through the roof. But I think I'm with you. I think this is a huge series, and honestly, I think we could. If the Braves make the playoffs, I think we can look back to this right here. And I feel like this is one of those kind of like nut up or shut up times for the Braves. Like you either figure it out and push through all of this, and then you get Profar back in a few days and you start going downhill again, uphill again, or this could be one of those that snowballs out of control because the Mets come in and sweep you at home, and you look back and be like, yep, that's really when our season ended.
Yeah, you mentioned Jerickson Profar, who was earlier suspended 80 games for PEDs. He's likely to play all 9 innings tonight in a rehab assignment in AAA Gwinnett, said Brian Snitker during his press conference today, and it looks like he will be rejoining the team and hitting in the 2-hole when he returns on July 2nd. So Jerickson Profar not eligible to play in the playoffs, but could definitely have a huge role in helping get this team to the playoffs. And obviously the outfield depth is there. So just get it one step at a time, got to get to the playoffs. And as you said, Jacob, this series right here is going to determine a lot as far as the Braves are concerned when it comes to the trade deadline. Are you buyers? Are you sellers? And taking 2 or 3 is what, in my opinion, you said it, Jim, you've got to do it. You've got to win the series. You got to take 2 or 3. This is coming off a series with Colorado where everyone really kind of felt like, hey, we need to sweep here and win the Mets series. We dropped the last game in Colorado. I know I've been pretty negative about that. It's frustrating because of the way it happened. But if you can win that series, win this series, you're playing Washington coming up, win that series, you're putting yourself immediately right back in the wild card mix for sure.
I think the key in all of these games is if the starter goes 6 to 7 innings, that you don't have to rely so heavily on the relief corps, because we know we've been down on them most of the season.
Yeah.
I know occasionally they've come through, but more often than not, you're
inconsistent
nervous.
is a good word.
I'm nervous whenever I see the Braves trot out one of these middle relief guys. I'm like, okay, what's getting ready to happen? And so you want to avoid that at all costs.
Yeah, the bullpen has been inconsistent. That's the best way to describe them. Now, Dylan Lee, not so much. He has been Mr. Consistent out of that bullpen. And as you said, if you can get 6 innings and put together a few more right after that with Raciel Iglesias in the 8th, Dylan Lee in the 9th, 6-7 innings is perfect. And you're talking about Schwellenbach on the mound tonight. He's shown that he can pitch the distance if he's locked in. Hoping he's locked in tonight, but a tough lineup for the New York Mets. We mentioned Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, Pete Alonso. That's another guy who a lot of people weren't sure if he was going to be a Met come this year. They worked out a deal over the offseason. That's the big power hitter, and he likes to try to do damage when he plays the Atlanta Braves. So it's going to be a very fun series, and it's one – it has that same kind of not quite playoff energy, but this is your season right here. If you get swept by these guys, and I'm not a negative guy, I'm not a naysayer, but if you get swept by the New York Mets at home in the series, it's over.
I'm sitting there thinking he's not a negative guy, but boy, you should have seen the text when the Braves blew that 6-run lead in the 9th inning.
Yeah,
Mr. Negativity.
Yeah.
But that was justified that time. I think it's going to be a fun series to watch. I think the crowd's going to really get into it. And I'm like I said, I think this is the series of the season thus far for the Atlanta Braves. And if they can, like I said, win 2 out of 3, listen, you'd like to sweep them. But, man, you can't.
Just win the series.
You can't let them win the series.
Yeah, got to win the series. And one thing, the guy who's going to lead this whole effort was the NL Player of the Week last week, Ronald Acuna Jr. Had a .619 batting average, 3 home runs last week. That guy's got to keep it going because he's the one bringing the energy in that lineup right now.
By the way, he was top 6 in the All-Star voting, and he hadn't played.
He's
played a minute.
Yeah,
he's played a minute. He's
missed most
still
of the
top
season.
6 in his All-Star voting.
Well, I'll be honest. Like I know I've got my Braves goggles on, but like if I take those off. Is there a cooler person out there than Ronald Acuna? Like, when he hits a baseball and then, like, whatever he does next, my eyes are glued to the TV.
He's must-see TV.
He's Mr. Aura of
the
baseball.
kids love him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, the grenade celly, like, the hopping at third, like, all of it, man. Like, I get glued to how much he loves the game of baseball. But I'm a little different on y'all of what I think needs to happen in this series. I do think that the pitching, like, I think we have to go 6.5, but I just don't trust our bullpen at all. I don't. So, like, to me, I think we're going to have to put up
big numbers.
7, 8 innings.
Yeah, 8 to 10. Well, 8 to 10 runs.
Big scoring a lot of runs.
I think Acuna keeps on doing what he's doing. I need Riley to hit some home runs. I just need Nick Allen to get on base and let Acuna bat him in. You know, I just need ABC baseball.
Listen, you're talking about Ronald Acuna Jr. The women in Braves country love it when he steps up to the plate and does that little shimmy, just to take one from one of my favorite movies in Major League. The Braves are 31-39, third in the National League East, 13 games back of the first place Mets. Mets currently sitting at 45-27, but they did just get swept by the Tampa Bay Rays at home up there in Flushing, New York. So, again, big game tonight, starting the series with the Mets down in the A, 7:15 first pitch right here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3 and on Mix 104.1 presented by Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. Hey, with that, Great show today. Really enjoyed our guest, Braden Gall. Great job from Athlon Sports. For Jacob Mason, Jim Gum, I'm Andy Morris. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow.
It's time for a Don Ledford of Cleveland traffic update on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Don Ledford Chevrolet Buick GMC, located on North Lee Highway in Cleveland. Or visit donledford.com for details. Don Ledford, where we say yes. It's on-time traffic with Commander Chuck.
Good afternoon. Still heavy out here on all the major outbound routes. TDOT still assisting with a couple of wrecks. Still busy over here in the construction. Has been on and off today. Northbound 75 up by East Brainerd Road. Certain areas are still seeing some rain showers out here in North Georgia. Be careful as you travel down 75. Lots of radar through North Catoosa County. Hey, Wheeling Family Chiropractic in Chattanooga is where I go. If you have lower back pain, give these guys a call at 499-0102. Wheeling Family Chiropractic. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
From the Alon Planning Partners Weather Center, here's your forecast on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Visit them online at alonplanning.com or give them a call at 423-315-1441.
As we continue into the afternoon, we'll climb into the mid to upper 80s with a heat index as high as 90 degrees. There will be the chance of a few storms after lunchtime, but the best chance will be between about 5 and 10 p.m. this evening. There will be the chance for gusty winds and locally heavy rain, so make sure to download that Local 3 weather app. I'm Storm Alert meteorologist Clay Smith.
Your current Milligan Vane temperature is 83 degrees. MilliganVane.com.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks. Dalton Pike at the state line.
Some mornings call for a little extra comfort. Introducing Hardees' new home-style breakfast burritos with cheese, fluffy egg, crispy hash browns, breakfast sausage, bacon, and sliced ham in a warm tortilla served with a side of Texas Pete hot sauce. Home-style breakfast burritos, only at Hardees. Goodness in the making. My Rewards members get a free blueberry biscuit or sausage biscuit when you order on the app. Limited time only. Exclusions may apply by time of day. See app for terms.
Hey guys, this is Dan Good from Crown. Just reminding you that Crown Ram is Cleveland and Bradley County's Ram headquarters.
We tend not to think about right now, but right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. When you give to the V Foundation, 100% of your donation goes directly to game-changing cancer research. Victory over cancer is there for the taking. By you. Donate at V.org, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks. Dalton Pike at the state line.
From the Kia of Cleveland Studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 101.3, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
Those starting pitching efforts where you go, are we going to lose this baseball game? Yeah, we're going to lose it handedly. I mean, that was a blowout. Baseball's not supposed to afford you a blowout, let alone a bad team blowing out a team. Remember that had won a couple of games in a row, and we were all excited. The point is it starts tonight again, and you're going to play one game against the Mets, and you're either going to be one game closer, 58-33, or you're still going to be 59-32 when the night is done. I know which one I would rather have.
I do too. And it's a fantastic pitching matchup with David Peterson and Spencer Schwellenbach. We will go over that a little bit later in the show. I'm also
going to give you something you might not be aware of. The Philadelphia Phillies, who we talked about struggling, they've won 5 in a row. So when we talk about who's doing what, well, the San Francisco Giants should have gotten better with the pickup of Devers. Philadelphia's won 5 in a row, and while the Mets got swept by the Rays at 45-27, their day off yesterday was not necessarily a panicky day off. It was, we got a day off.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to Atlanta. We'll see you then.
Yep. And we will see what happens over the course of the 3-game set that starts tonight. Before we hear from Brian Snicker, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
This is Atlanta Braves baseball on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, WCLE HD2 and W267